All right. Trapezoids and kites are our last two quadrilaterals that we're going to talk about. We're talking about them last, page 445, because they are not parallelograms. So every quadrilateral we have talked about so far has been a parallelogram or a special type of parallelogram. Okay? First, we have a trapezoid. Okay? A trapezoid has exactly one pair of parallel sides. Okay? And those parallel sides are what we call the bases. Okay? The two sides that are not parallel, we call those the legs. Okay? Now, just like we have isosceles triangles, we have isosceles trapezoids, where if we have the legs congruent, then we have an isosceles trapezoid. Okay? Okay. Special things about isosceles trapezoids. Okay. Each pair of base angles are going to be congruent. So if we have an isosceles trapezoid, then these base angles are congruent and these base angles are congruent. Yes, what kind of angles are those? How do we know that they're supplementary? Yeah, those are some consecutive interior angles, so we know that they're supplementary. Okay? Okay. Now, even if we have a trapezoid and all we have is one pair of congruent base angles, then we know it's a isosceles trapezoid, and the other set will be congruent as well. Okay? And then, if we have an isosceles trapezoid, its diagonals are congruent. Okay? So yay, trapezoids are special. Okay. You don't like trapezoids? Okay.
They're mean.
Okay, well, let's make a trapezoid into a guitar. Go to the next page. Okay, this rocker has an isosceles guitar, an isosceles trapezoidal guitar. Yeah. Okay. Which two sides are going to be equal to each other? Avery? AD and BC. So we need to say, okay, since this is an isosceles trapezoid, AD is 4x plus 5, and BC is 5x minus 6, and those need to equal each other. What does that mean about x? X is 11. Okay, now, I'm going to zoom in on this trapezoidal guitar, okay? If this is an isosceles trapezoid, give me one pair of congruent base angles. What is congruent to D?
C.
C. What is congruent to A? B. Okay. Okay. So if we know that angle C is 72, what else is 72? Okay. What? I said angle C is 72. So D is also 72. Now, if I want to get angle A, what's true about angle A and angle D? What is that called, Austin? Supplementary. Okay. So angle A and angle D are supplementary, which means angle A is 108. Lo siento. Why are you saying sorry?
What? I said sorry?
Lo siento means sorry. I'm sorry.
That's what I said.
Lo siento means I'm sorry.
But he said 100. Like 100.
Huh?
Yeah, Santo.
That'd be just CN. Yeah, that'd be CCN. That'd be CN.
Okay. Anyway, if I want to find the perimeter of this guitar, then I would add the sides together. Can I be honest? I find this example to be a little bit lame. That's okay. I did say lame. Okay. What's the coefficient for x when we add them together? 15x.
Yep. Is it 6?
Plus 6. Okay. Now earlier we solved that x was 11.
Oh, it's the same.
So we have 156 plus 6. 165 plus 6. Do you know the trick for multiplying by 11? Hold on. 15 times 11. I'm going to write 15 spaced out, and then the digit in between is 1 plus 5.
I just did 10 times 15.
That sounds great. Okay. All right. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the bottom of page 447, and we're going to talk about the mid-segment of a trapezoid. This is essentially what your warm-up was about. If you connect the midpoints of the legs, we get a mid-segment, okay? And the mid-segment is going to be parallel to the two bases, and its length is half of the sum of the bases. That's what you did in your little explore activity. So, like, go to the top of the next page. Okay. Is U the midpoint of PT? Yes. Is R the midpoint of QS? All right. So UR is our mid-segment. Okay. One thing we know is it's parallel to the two bases. So, you know, we can make some assumptions based on that they're parallel. Okay. But the other thing we know is that if we add 18 and 11 and cut it in half, that is how long our mid-segment is. So, what is 11 plus 18? Okay, so our segment, our mid-segment is half of 29, which is 14.5.
before I even thought.
Okay, now look at this one. Here I have the mid segment, but not one of the bases. That's fine. Yeah. So we know that our mid segment is 24 and our bases are x plus 16.7. So Austin, what are we going to have to do to 24?
Times it by 2.
Austin says we need to times our mid segment by 2. So 48 equals the sum of our two bases.
Minus 16 from 48.
How about 16.7?
Oh, yeah, same thing.
Not the same thing.
0.7. So they go-
What is 48 minus 16.7? It's a number.
It is.
Mid.
All right. You just did a worksheet for me where I forced you to find a midpoint. Right? Could you please find the midpoint of AD and find the midpoint of BC?
What example are you on?
Hey, just kidding. I'm wrong. What did I highlight? What are those?
Bases.
Those are the bases. I want the midpoint of the legs.
Wait, how do you know
Great question, David Pena. Yes. Derek Pena.
You're going to have to do it yourself.
How do we know which is which?
It's excellent.
The bases are the ones that are
It's already written down here.
parallel. The bases are parallel, the legs are not. Okay, find me the midpoints.
Okay.
They already got it. You just have to
You should have to do it yourself. Just
16 over.
Probably hated her off.
It's like you can't just hand him a freaking package. And then just walk out.
10.5.
Okay, find it, find it.
It says it right below it.
It's okay, I was about to say something.
Hey,
Not my main quarterback. Not my main quarterback.
Natalie, what is the midpoint of AB?
9.8.
9, 8. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, Alex S., what's the midpoint of CD?
10.5 is
Yes, they are right there. But you did the work, good job. I know, some of you didn't see it, some of you did. Okay. All right. Let's talk about kites. Raise your hand if you've flown a kite before. I'm really
I
sorry.
was flying a kite once and it got really hot, and then someone just flew their drone into it and it got like.
What's it like? Was it in the
I was always nervous that if I flew a kite when I was a little girl that I would like blow away with it. Yeah.
I think you as a little girl didn't understand.
Well, I've always been
Short?
small. Yes.
Stupid.
Sorry. That's what you were gonna say.
Are you serious right now? Is that what you think of your teacher?
Ozzy just called Miss Holman stupid.
I did not say that.
Okay. A kite. Okay. What is true about a kite? It is, oh. A kite is not a rhombus. A kite has two distinct pairs of adjacent congruent sides, unlike a parallelogram. So a kite, these two are going to be congruent, and these two are going to be congruent. Okay? Now, like a rhombus, the diagonals are going to be perpendicular. So I feel like there's going to be some right triangles happening, maybe a little Pythagorean theorem. Okay. Also, there is one pair of opposite angles that are congruent. Okay, so look at this example 6. Is it a kite? It is a kite because these two segments are congruent. These two sides are congruent. Okay, there is exactly one pair of opposite sides that are congruent. Opposite angles. What opposite angles are going to be congruent? N and L. Now, we have a quadrilateral. How many degrees are in a quadrilateral? 4. There are 4 angles that add up to be 360. So if we take 360 and we subtract 71 and 52, what do we have left? Okay.
123. Yep. 237.
It's a little different. 237? Yes? Okay. What do I need to do with 237? We would need to divide 237 by 2 so that the measure of angle N and the measure of angle L, what? Oh, I heard 18.5 and I was like, no. Okay. Okay, find me F, angle F in the check. Chase, what'd you get? Do you agree with 80 degrees?
I do agree.
Cool. All right. So now let's go to the next page. Let's talk about when we have diagonals and we're trying to find side lengths. So if I want to figure out side AD, what do we know about the diagonals of a kite?
They're perpendicular.
They're perpendicular. So if I want to find AD, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Look, I even used green for you, Austin Watts. Yeah. Okay. So we can do 12 squared plus 24 squared equals that hypotenuse squared. 144 plus what?
144 plus 144 or 188. No, 288.
What?
Am I wrong?
Wait, it's like 500 something. It's like 512. 512.
It's 288 double.
526? 576.
Yeah, I just knew it was 288.
Wow.
88.
No, it's 288.
Now, so we have 720, we square root both sides. Okay. 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 Now, if we wanted to find a b, we would have to use 6 squared and 12 squared. Okay, now we are going to find the perimeter of this guy right here. Okay, so what do you want to find first? The 1 dash or the 2 dash?
1 dash.
3 dash.
Let's do the 2 dashes. It's going to be an easier one.
What?
Okay,
Because the 1 dash is small enough.
so 5 squared plus 12 squared equals AB squared. 25 plus 144 is 169. Grow up. 169 is a perfect square. What is it the perfect square of? Ah, I told you this one was nice.
13.
Okay. Now, if we want to find BC, we have 5 squared plus 8 squared equals BC squared.
64 plus 25.
So BC is the square root of 89. Which means CD is also the square root of 89. Okay? Now, if we want to find the perimeter, we have the square root of 89 plus the square root of 89 plus 13 plus 13. You cannot combine all of those together. What you're going to do is you're going to say 13 plus 13 is 26. Square root of 89 plus square root of 89 is 2 square root of 89. And that's, you're just going to leave your answer like that. Fair enough?
That's easy.
I don't like how in geometry our answers are plus.
You're really going to love chapter 3 then, or chapter 9. After the midterm, we're going to do chapter 9, which is right triangle trig, and we're going to have a lot of square root answers.